TC, thank you for joining me here today at the Downtown Springfield GCAI video studio.
Very cool.
And I wanted to address the campaign because we always love doing our little postmortems and everything. But I certainly want to avoid the highs and lows of the controversies or who's been appointed or not, but talk about the stuff that's near and dear to our heart. Two subjects: data and marketing. Let's say political marketing. So the first one, data, and my question to you is, as the polls were all wrong, is this the death of data as we know it? Is polling just forever going to be laughed at?
Polling's got to change. It's taken a monstrous, massive black eye here. Bottom line is that the day of looking to see who's likely to vote and basing your poll on that, looking at lists of registered voters and saying, well, who's likely to vote and who are these folks, that's over, because no longer can we plan on that. When you take a look at the fact that the tracking numbers on election day at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time in 13 of the key swing states had Hillary Clinton up by 5 points, 3 points. These are the real numbers, not the polls or what CNN's saying as of the moment or who's spinning what. She was handling and had leads in most of these places, small leads, but with early voting already having happened and having been driven greatly by data mining and voter ID and get out the vote by the Clinton folks, everyone assumed this is over. She just holds these margins, she wins these states. Gosh, she could even afford to lose Michigan, which most of us had an idea was going to happen. But the long story short, between 4 and 8 o'clock, arguably 4 hours or 5 hours, depending on where those polls were, a bunch of folks defied the polls, defied the media, and went out and voted for Donald Trump. That gave him those 70, 80, 110,000 vote margins in those swing states. That's how close.
So
that was it.
Is it the sampling that was wrong then?
I think to a great degree, perhaps the sampling, but the other part of it too, this concept of likely voters. Who are the likely voters?
Yeah. Which goes back to the sampling.
Exactly, and it is the sampling. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
The other thing too, and it's something we've talked about a zillion times before, the reality of the cell phone piece. It's one of the reasons that Western New England University gets their polls on target. In fact, they call the questions in Massachusetts more on, and exactly right, in fact, versus Boston pollsters. And the reason was, Tim Versalati there insists on 50% cell phone response. Whereas most of the other pollsters I deal with, I'm fighting with them now. I want the 50. I want what Western New England has that I can't buy.
Was the aspect of people, essentially, misleading the pollsters a factor in the end, do you think, or was it more the sampling?
I think it was more the sampling, because quite often if someone's going to stay on the telephone and talk to you for 12 minutes,
you're going to get them.
They're going to tell you what they, because they also
eventually you'll know.
And I've asked a lot of pollsters about that too. Tell me about how many calls you had to make to get your completed survey done, get your sample done. And it was interesting. People wanted to be heard, and it was a situation of I want to be heard. I'm with Trump because I'm with Hillary because.
So let me give you another slice.
Sure.
So as they still are apparently tallying, maybe the national polls weren't that off because Hillary Clinton won the race.
The popular.
It was the popular. It was the state polls, and so that's where the big errors came into, especially those key states.
Exactly. I've kind of made that case too over the last week that the polling wasn't that far off as far as the popular vote was concerned. But then we've got this thing called the Electoral College. And of course, if you're in one of these campaigns, that's the science that you've got to figure out. Where do I need to be? And in hindsight, certainly stunning to me to see that Trump was in a lot of the right places. Because almost everyone assumed there was no science to the Trump campaign.
They said he was running around to all the different states willy-nilly, and she was in Arizona.
For an entire week he had that going, he doesn't know what he's doing, he's in the wrong places. Hindsight, he was in the right places.
We're such Monday morning quarterbacks. So the other thing I wanted to talk to you about, because we both were schooled in the early days by Joe Napolitan. And back in, about media positioning, media spin, okay? So money is no object anymore. Hillary Clinton had as much money as you possibly can. Is spend dead, because she was. The point was made time and time again. Donald Trump's not spending enough. He's not on the air. Hillary Clinton's on the air. She's moving her money around. It didn't seem to work. Right.
Traditional spending on all the traditional media brands. Take a look at where he went, or where his people went, or where the Republican National Committee, who we all thought was asleep. Well, they weren't. They spent $500 million. Where did they put most of it? Digital. They data mine.
We hear a little bit about digital around here.
Yes. I mean, you're on target with this stuff. This works.
We like digital,
It was the next step forward.
So you're suggesting that Trump's spend proportionally, even though it dwarfed Hillary's apparently, was more digital,
Yeah.
and hers was more conventional TV.
It was, but actually she dwarfed his overall, because when
Yeah.
you take a look at the final numbers and the PACs and the super PACs and the
Yeah,
outside players and whatnot, you add all that up and you take a look at her traditional spending, she greatly outspent Donald
Right.
Trump. This is a terrible analogy for him to make, but there was an impression that he had gone hunting with a shotgun and that she had the rifle with the scope on it.
Right.
Reverse that. He had a sniper's rifle with a scope on it.
Interesting.
We just didn't, a lot of folks didn't understand that until the last few weeks of the campaign.
Does dominating the PR message as he did so well, now, we all thought, oh, it's negative, but, it was really resonating with, clearly
Yeah.
a lot of people. Did that also help him with his less spend, his proportionally less spend?
I think so, because he was able to specifically target, capture the audience he wanted,
Right.
and then keep them. That was the
Right.
other thing. Once they had
Same
them,
message over and over.
exactly,
Yeah.
almost ad nauseum, and just tweaking it just enough so that folks felt, wow, that's it. That's what
And
I
we get
feel too.
covered every
And you know
night.
what? And no matter what, I'm going to go out and vote for this guy. No
Yeah.
matter what the media says, or the
Yeah.
pollsters, that it's over and he can't
Yeah.
possibly win, I'm going to go out anyway. I'm going to vote for him.
Right, so let me go off script here.
Mm.
In as few words as you can say, like, what happens next? Where does polling and where does spend go next?
Polling is going to obviously become much more finite. We're going to be more concerned about how many cell phones are being reached, and not just that it's a registered voter or a likely to vote. We want to see voting history. I want to know that the person that's on the phone voted the last 3 out of 4 times, but then there's the next category.
Interesting, yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
find the voter, the Trump voter, frankly,
Yeah.
who's been gone, Democrat, Republican, Independent for the last 10 years, 12 years, and fell off the rolls. That's another thing. There was this great confusion with the media. Oh my gosh, all these new people, who are they? They really weren't new people. They were people that were fed up with the Democrats or the Republicans,
Stepped out of line.
and they walked away. They fell off the
Yeah.
rolls, they re-registered and came back. So now we want to see that. We
Okay.
want the sample to be so pure now and so scientific. I want to know for sure, who are we talking
Here, there, and beyond. yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so
exactly.
tell me about spend.
Spending changes a lot. A lot of the traditional stuff just does not work. Now it's digital, digital, digital.
Yeah.
I want to know how many eyeballs on, for sure. So
Yeah.
even now, whereas I don't do the actual advertising in a lot of campaigns, I'll direct the message, I'll sit in on a session for taping or whatever. I want to know, where is this going? Who specifically is going to see it, and then show me that happen. The old days,
Right.
just throw in the duck. When we
Right.
had a lot of money in a
Right.
campaign, that's
They were
over.
good old days,
That's
though.
right. And that's the other thing,
Yeah.
they were good old days.
Yeah.
But that's the other thing that's changed. There's always that New York Times article that everybody goes back to, that the candidate who has the most money wins. That's now changed.
Yeah.
Certainly, Trump spent well, but he didn't spend anywhere near what Clinton did. Not what the unions did, not what so many other supportive groups of hers spent. Trump was tiny by comparison, but he went exactly where he needed to go.
Neat.
The shotgun approach is over.
Neat. Always great talking to you.
Good
Thanks for
show,
stopping
man.
by.
Thank you.